Welcome to Live Like an Acrobat. I'm your host, Shenea Stiletto, two-time World Acrobatic Gymnastics Champion, USA Gymnastics Hall of Fame member, and Cirque artist. I'm also an advocate for rain. On each episode of the Live Like an Acrobat podcast, I discuss acro handstanding in terms of training tips, coaching, and I explore circus and acrobatic gymnastics competitive life as I have lived it from past to current, and I theorize on what the future may bring in these fields. On each episode of the Live Like an Acrobat podcast, I will bring you insight through my own experiences, which are rooted in a perspective built on social justice advocacy and how these important issues continue to intersect between the circus arts and acrobatics competitive world at large. On each episode, I have the pleasure of discussing these various narratives with a variety of fascinating special guests. Thank you so much for joining me on this episode of the Live Like an Acrobat podcast. Please consider a donation to encourage the continuation and evolution of this podcast. The details of how to donate are located in the show notes. Please make sure to check out the CircuspreneurBlog.com for extended conversations and interactive content of each episode of the Live Like an Acrobat podcast. I am available for handstand private sessions and workshops through aerialfitbodies.com, and in a new announcement, I'm also a CIRQO certified trainer. Check out CIRQO.co, a new circus school online international platform where you can learn hand balancing with me and learn so many other circus disciplines from trained cirque performers from all over the world. On this week's episode of the Live Like an Acrobat podcast, I spoke with special guest Sue Porrett about her newly launched global online circus training platform, CIRQO. This episode of the Live Like an Acrobat podcast is dedicated to the legacy of American Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsberg, aka the Notorious RBG. In her own words, a wise perspective that encapsulates the overall spirit of this episode. She says, "Fight for the things that you care about, but do it in a way that will lead others to join you." May she rest in justice, and may you be inspired to justice in the world in whatever way that speaks to your heart. Sue Porrett, the founder of CIRQO, has enough inspiration for us all. It was an upliftment and a pleasure speaking to Sue, who is paving the way forward for the circus community and for the circus arts training community at large. Sue has a vision that is unstoppable, and you can feel it just by speaking with her and listening to her. I can imagine her eyes glistening as she was speaking to me about her launch of CIRQO and the thoughts and emotions and passions that went into creating CIRQO in order for it to be a globally competitive circus online school that Sue is very clear about. You can tell in the way that Sue speaks about CIRQO that she has a very clear path forward. She has a very distinct vision, and most importantly, that she wants to unify the circus community. And not only that, but by unifying the circus community, she's therefore unifying the rest of the world, as, of course, our students are from all sorts of backgrounds. The world needs more Sue Porretts. The world needs Sue at this moment, and I think the circus community will flourish through the CIRQO platform and through just the efforts of innovating, and in those like Sue striving to create on our behalf and putting all of their vast experience into mediums that they've wanted to do for a very long time. So we see again that this time, though incredibly hard and difficult, has opened up a lot of space for circuspreneurs to launch and get things off the ground that they just didn't have time to do before, but that they always wanted to do. And I think it always comes back to timing. And when you no longer have those daily constructs to hold you back or necessarily just distract you from things that you want to do, imagine what you can do. So I was excited, and I am excited to be a part of Sue's wondrous world that she's creating through the CIRQO platform. I'm so excited to be a trainer for CIRQO and to join the other incredible trainers that I know of, that I have worked with before, or that I know of their work, I know of their careers, and to also see and learn about new trainers and new circus performers that I have not met or known of before. I think that this is such a pregnant time with a lot of possibilities, and a very special thing. As I speak and record this now, CIRQO has begun the announcement of their trainers and of the platform, and so there is a lot of energy that is buzzing around the circus arts world, and it's very special, and it's getting around, and the energy is really high, and it's such a positive thing. And I think we all need something to be really happy and positive about right now. I've always loved the quote that you need to have somebody to love and something to do. And there's a couple other facets that are in that quote as well, but I love that it means that you need to have something to do. And it's so important to have something to look forward to at any stage or at any time in your life. But I don't think that I, along with the other performers and coaches and trainers around the world, and those of us who continue to perform, some of us are just coaches and just trainers, and some of us do both. And you will find just such a variety on the CIRQO platform and within the CIRQO network, especially as it continues to expand, as you will hear Sue speaking about the potential and inevitable evolution of the CIRQO platform and the CIRQO branding. There is a lot of discipline and focus and attention that has gone into creating CIRQO and to launching this global brand. So this is a very teachable moment. This is a very teachable episode through Sue's vision of what she's had for CIRQO and how she's executing that vision. So I think that it is very important to take notes from this episode, and I look forward to speaking with Sue again in the future and understanding how the launch of CIRQO was interpreted and how it has evolved into the future, because Sue is very much a mastermind, and I would say an iconoclast of circus ingenuity at this point in time. And I think that a lot of entrepreneurs and circuspreneurs within the circus arts and just in the entertainment world at large will learn a lot from the launch of the CIRQO platform, and can serve to learn a lot through Sue's know-how and entrepreneurship and business-minded logic, and also just artistic purity and passion for the circus arts, and for her love of performing and her love of circus. And I share that, and I think that that comes through in our conversation. And I hope that this, if you are a circus performer, if you're an artist, if you're a trainer, if you're an enthusiast of circus, if you are competing in any kind of sport and going to transition to the circus world, that this really uplifts you right now and inspires you. And you will certainly have a big takeaway from listening to my conversation with Sue. And you're going to get a lot out of the CIRQO platform, which I'm so excited for it to officially launch. And it will be a brilliant spiral into, I think, a lot of other important avenues as we move forward and generate a new circus world. So please enjoy my conversation with the incomparable creator and founder of CIRQO, Sue Porrett. Hi, Sue. Thank you so much for coming on to the show.
Hello, Shenea. Lovely to be chatting with you.
Thank you so much, Sue. It's an exciting and busy time for you right now, getting ready to launch CIRQO, which is so amazing. And I'm so grateful, as I know all the other CIRQO certified trainers are too, for CIRQO taking such initiatives and innovations during these times to provide a much needed outlet and future for circus training and circus arts. There is actually a panel discussion entitled Circus Presenters and Producers on Planning for the Future coming up soon on Circus Arts Hub. And it will include another Australian-based circus events company based in Brisbane called Hot Brown Honey. And they will explore the approaches they can take and how they can continue to build audiences and improve sustainability for small companies and increase sector diversity. It should be quite informative. It's great how everyone's trying their best to do their part. So the community thanks you, Sue, for providing a bold new way forward for the circus world with CIRQO.
Oh, well, thank you very much, Shenea. Yes, we are very, very excited. We're counting down the hours actually now until it is launched. And yeah, it's wonderful to, especially, obviously during these times, is to bring the circus community together.
Well, I'm inspired, and I love CIRQO's imagery, ethos, and its intention to create connection through training and skill development for a large variety of skill levels. It's not just circus skill training. It really is a lifestyle in your pocket for exceptional skill learning from the best of the best in the business. You're seeking to unite the circus world with CIRQO as a cross-disciplinary online circus school. I love the quote by Helen Keller that is at the center of what CIRQO is all about, which is, alone we can do so little, together we can do so much.
Yes.
And this couldn't be more poignant for the times, and we are all seeking and reaching out to one another within the circus community like never before. We're having discussions we would have never had, movements that may never have materialized, and seeking to learn from one another in an openness and willingness to learn that I know we've never felt before, with CIRQO seeking to strengthen these bonds even deeper.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I love that you raised the Helen Keller quote there, Shenea. It really is the foundation of CIRQO. And it is now the time that we all really do need to stick together. So we're hoping CIRQO will definitely be a big plus for everybody out there.
Thank you, Sue. And please tell us, Sue, when did you decide to create CIRQO, and how has it evolved into its current incarnation? And how has your background as a global event company run by performers shaped the creation of CIRQO?
Sure. Well, we actually thought of this idea about 4 or 5 years ago, or a very similar concept to it. But just being quite a big production company, we're producers of show production, theme parks, casinos, and whatnot, and we're always a bit busy actually. So they say in sometimes hard times you can plant seeds of growth, and we believe COVID was one of them for us, and it gave us the time because we were closed down and went into quarantine like everybody else. So we sat there, instead of twiddling our thumbs, we planted some seeds and put together, basically the draft for CIRQO, which was, great on paper, but to facilitate that, quite difficult considering our trainers are, placed all around the world. So I put a shout out to a lot of the performers whom I have worked for in the past, or who know of me and my work. And everybody was just more than happy to jump on board. Loved the idea, loved the concept, loved the community spirit about it. And, this is not just for performers, obviously. It's for those ones that those kids out there, those adults, those kids, those whoever who want to be in the industry and want to learn, and to, I suppose, be able to have access to those trainers they see in the big shows, those trainers they see on television. It's a pretty big deal. I was a young circus girl once as well, and to be able to have access to a Cirque du Soleil performer would be, absolutely unattainable back then. But CIRQO will be able to give everybody that access, which is really exciting for me.
Yes. Yes. So you've brought in the best of the best to assist in running CIRQO and giving it the best chance of success it has. How have you determined which companies to partner with, and what's been the method behind orchestrating CIRQO's connection to the global market?
Sure. To the actual trainers, well, what we did is we wanted to get basically 2 trainers per discipline, and those trainers we wanted to have a different variety with each. So as I said before, I'm actually an ex aerialist myself back in the day, turned producer. So I'm very familiar with circus arts and multiple disciplines. So for me, it was easy to reach out to those right people who I knew not only were extremely highly skilled, also well-traveled and understood the industry well enough, well-respected, and then, of course, would be able to pass on their skills easily. Because there's also language barriers, right? We've always got a little language barriers. So the trainers we've chosen have had to tick all those boxes, and they did. So to get it out to the circus world, we're sort of holding back with that now. There is the big schedule going out very soon, and it should be seen everywhere very soon. But we are reaching out to many different circus companies to collaborate with us, which we're also very excited about.
Can you explain, Sue, how those interested in CIRQO can access the site, and how do you get into the CIRQO world and exist there?
How do they access? Okay, so as we said, we will be live in a couple of weeks. Is that right? A week or so, I think it is. So then they will basically just subscribe to CIRQO, and the beautiful part of CIRQO is for a very reasonable price, which you'll see all there online. You will have not only access to one trainer with that one price, you have access to all trainers, which is approximately 30 disciplines. There'll be hundreds of tutorials online, and for example, if you want to go on there and learn hand balance, you can, but for the exact same price, you can jump over and learn aerial, or you can learn juggling or hula hooping. You can also have access to food nutrition when you're training, injury prevention. We all don't want to be hurt. There's also some fantastic keynote speakers on there as well to lift us up mentally, especially right now. We're all going through some hard times. Many, many positives out there. So we've tried to package CIRQO for the all-rounder, so multiple skills and assistance in the back end as well.
I love that. I love that you're really trying to give a very well-rounded experience to those interested in participating in CIRQO, because we know that it's a very multidimensional experience when you're learning circus skill and learning intricate aerial arts or hand balancing or handstands or juggling. It really, there's many moving parts. It's not just one way of learning technique. You don't just learn technique. There's all these different things that we do behind the scenes too that people don't usually get to see. So I love that CIRQO's taking the initiative to open up the go behind the veil, I think, so to speak, to show those interested and those that will join the CIRQO community just how they can maintain their technique and maintain this lifestyle successfully and safely. So that's wonderful.
Yeah, that was really important to me because it's really important that the back end of being a performer, as we all know as performers, is probably more important than being on stage. That nutrition and that injury prevention and training and strength building is so important to the longevity of an artist. So we wanted to make sure that was paramount, a huge part of CIRQO. But also, as I said, we have a fantastic TED keynote speaker on there who who's really uplifting, and you know, it's really nice to have some positive words and maybe shape your way of thinking during hard times too. I'm really proud to have that on board as well. But there's just so many other areas of CIRQO that we're excited about, and I think we all know these days as an artist, it's very important to be multi-skilled. You know, you can't just be an aerialist these days, or you can't just be just a hand balance. You've got to have that second and third skill up your sleeve. So that's also a big part of CIRQO is, you know, you're not paying that one sort of fee for that one skill. You have access to so much more, and that's CIRQO. That's CIRQO.
Well, I love that you're going to be starting, you know, so many circus performers into so many different facets of their career coming out of quarantine, which is going to be exceptional for so many circus artists as well. As you said, upping their game and allowing them to feel really confident coming out of the quarantine and coming through the pandemic onto the other side, and feeling very confident in leveling up in what they're in what they're usually doing within their careers. So I think that's really appreciated that you focused on that aspect very strongly, especially because we're going through these times, and we know also too that the market is going to be different. The market is already different, and I think it's great in preparing everyone with a new and stronger foundation.
Thank you. Yes, I can completely agree with that. Yeah, it's very, very important that we do come out of this with not only being physically strong but mentally strong, and ready for those contracts that come our way. We've got to keep going.
Well, in keeping ourselves mentally strong, which I know that you are very mentally strong because you're launching such a huge thing during these times. So what are the challenges of launching such a huge international platform, even without a pandemic, but also during a pandemic?
Oh, wow. Well, we are based in Australia, so there's a huge time difference, days time difference. So that's been a bit difficult. Speaking to people in the middle of the night, which has been a bit funny. But you know, that's I suppose that's the biggest one. Everybody, to be honest, has been so excited about the concept and could not do enough to be a part of it. And you know, I was not really prepared for the kind words that I'd received from the trainers that just saying thank you for bringing the community together and your initiative and just all those wonderful words. It was really uplifting to me, and it sort of makes me, I don't know, want to do more and want to make it even better, and we will. But it just really empowered me. So the support from the team so far in these very, very early days has been incredible.
That's so inspiring. And yes, I second that with the encouraging words. And again, with you all taking the initiative on all of our behalfs, because, you know, it's the interdependence right now of the circus world and everyone coming together. And I know that there's a lot of gratitude with CIRQO taking all of these initiatives, and it's not easy. And I'm sure that, you know, it's been quite difficult. I can imagine the challenges that you've gone through in launching right now, and with things shutting down on and off, and shows opening up and then closing down, and studios and circus schools opening up and then closing down. I've been going through that with my students, and seeing the impact in this circus schools. Everyone's looking for help, and I don't think we can get enough help during this time. And that's what I consistently hear from everyone, that they're just looking for help, and they want students to be able to stay focused and to stay in circus school, and feel confident that they've graduated from circus school during this time, and how they can maintain their skills. So I definitely feel that CIRQO is going to be providing a huge resource during this time. And for those that were thinking about transitioning out of sport into the circus world, and that have retired, they're looking towards a future as well. So, and there's, a lot of competitions that are down. Athletes cannot compete this year. High level competitors were not able to compete this year. Some people are aging out. Some people are sizing out. So, they're all going into their next phase, and many of them want to join the circus. So I think that, there is such a fantastic resource in CIRQO providing that, because there's so many different nuances that everybody's facing right now along the lines of circus performing, circus training, high-level acrobatic training, gymnastics training. So it really is affecting so many things across the board. And so, Sue, what makes CIRQO unique in comparison to the other circ training platforms out there? For me, it's that CIRQO is so multidimensional. And like you said, it's not just skill, it's the mental and the psychological facets and dimensions that go into being a performer, or even if you're just an enthusiast and a hobbyist, even if you're just doing, yoga, it takes, you have to have a certain level of emotional perspicacity to be able to make it through a series and a sequence and want to go further in your practice. So I love that about CIRQO. I think that it's great that the effort is not just going in one direction and acknowledging that there's so many layers to learning and maintaining. So what makes CIRQO unique, Sue?
I think, you just said pretty much everything then, Shenea. You nailed that. I would say for me, it is obviously number one is the being able to have access to everything, multiple skilled artists, having access to the lot, and also affordable. It's tough out there at the moment. So this is something that is affordable to everybody. And that was what I really wanted. I wanted to be affordable, and you can go in there and you've got access to some of the most incredible artists in our world today. And I don't think you could get much more than that. We've also included with CIRQO that live access to the trainers. Once a month, our trainers will go live, and you can go live with them and ask them questions as well. So it's not just watching their tutorials. You can actually speak to them and ask them questions. So there's that, just sort of bridging the gap, bringing people closer together, creating a community that is together and that can grow together. That's basically, that's everything for me. Affordable, and to be able to be so accessible.
Wonderful. It's so awesome. So what qualities and credentials does a certified CIRQO trainer need to possess? What were you looking for? What was your target in terms of a CIRQO trainer?
Sure, great question. They obviously they had to be have a very strong skill base. I wanted them to also have worked on some big stages. With the disciplines, as I said, there is roughly two trainers each discipline. So one of those trainers had to have a experience on a large stage. The other doesn't have to, because we're all not doing this to be on the large stage. Some of us are doing, wanting to hula hoop because we think it's fantastic and it's crazy and it's a cool pastime, right? We don't want to be on the big Cirque du Soleil stage. So we wanted to choose trainers that were all varied in their disciplines, but also their experience. So there was a number of factors, but number one, had to have a fantastic smile and had to be able to get out there and, be that person that you want to come back and watch again. Be that one, that trainer that is skilled and is really enjoyable to watch. Oh gosh, and there's so many more areas, but there's so many different variables with the trainers. They're all different in their own way. Like for example, we've even got a cardist. I'm not sure card trickery. We even have that on CIRQO. So you don't really see his face, but you see his hands. But he has a really cool way. So it was really different. We've been for months and months and months and months. I was just going around looking at the artists, choosing what would work, what wouldn't. So there is many, many different areas of the trainers, but the main thing I was looking for in all of it was variety, just really, really, really good variety, so we could suit all demographics. I hope that made sense.
Yes, it totally made sense.
Oh, good.
Yeah, and I can't wait to tune in. I love that. I love that he's doing card trickery on there. That's so cool.
Yeah, why not? I mean, you know what? Why not? We're in our dressing rooms, we're bored, or we're in quarantine, we can't go anywhere. Pack of cards, there you go.
I know, you never know where that's going to take you. And that actually segues really great into my next question, Sue. How do you want those seeking to experience CIRQO training to feel when they take a class?
Could you repeat that? Sorry, Shenea?
How do you want those seeking to experience CIRQO training to feel when they take a class?
Oh, thank you. Inspired and wanting to come back. Absolutely inspired. And again, some of our subscribers will have access to their idols. Their idols.
Mm-hmm.
Like some of these performers are, champions on America's Got Talent show and winners of huge competitions and gold medalists and crazy stuff. So I want them to be inspired and excited.
Yes, I love that you spoke about that. I'm actually involved in something upcoming that's like a mentorship within the acrobatic gymnastics competitive world. And there's a really great acrobat that competed during my generation. And he did something that we've all been longing for a very long time, which is to give acrobats that are up and coming access to people that they've looked up to for a very long time within the sport. And we've spoken a long time about how important that is to be able to have access to your idols. And I think that's what's also really amazing. There's just like all of those like old school barriers are really dissolving now. I can't imagine being able to have spoken to the artists that I looked up to in Kidam when I was growing up, or in Lanuba or in O. I really cannot. It really is wild when I think about it now of having the opportunity. I mean, like just like that, just on your phone, or just going onto your Instagram and being able to log on and, go live with them and answer questions. I mean, for artists, for people that were not artists before, it was a big deal just to see an unveiling of an artist out of their costume at the very end of the show on the stage. And now you can see their training styles. You can speak to them. You can relate to them on a very human level. You can understand the ins and outs of what they've gone through, what I've gone through, obviously, because I'm an artist and I'm a CIRQO trainer, but I'm talking kind of like in third person. But I think that it's really, really, really special. And maybe it's my age now, but I kind of go on and on and on and on and on to the newer generations about how lucky and fortunate they are. And it's just like so like not lost on me to imagine before all of these opportunities came along, like, CIRQO and how everybody's aligning right now of, just how fortunate we are to have these kinds of technologies, and we are to have everyone willing in a certain way as well. I think, maybe even before there was also a certain kind of distance created that I'm glad that's now also too just being kind of like stripped away. I think that's very part of this time as well, where everybody just is very stripped down and everybody wants everyone to know who they are and to know what they do and to know the different things that go into their life and into their work. And I think everyone's really hungry for that, obviously with like the connection, especially because we're isolated and we're going to continue to be isolated for quite some time, even though things are changing and evolving and connectivity is going to come back, but it's never going to be like it was before. So I think that it's really great, again, for, like people like you, Sue, that are taking this initiative to update us to our new world, because it's just going to maintain like our new normal. It's never going to go back to the way that it was. And I think a lot of people are very happy about that. I think I am. I'm very happy about that, obviously, in terms of the effect that it's having on the industry. it's very hard to take, but I also too love the innovation that's coming through. And I think that so many things are going to be stronger and are going to provide more resources. I know it's definitely drawing a lot more out of me, and it's drawing out a lot more of the different trainers and artists that I know, where we're thinking of ideas that we would have never have thought about if it weren't for this time, and if it also weren't for like CIRQO platforms asking us to become more and be more. So I think it's really amazing. I wanted to also ask you, Sue, you did mention that trainers for CIRQO would be going live every single month. Will there be other events and other ways to connect with CIRQO trainers in addition to accessing classes on the main platform that you see for the future that maybe they won't adapt to the initial model, but that will eventually be there over time?
Yes. There'll be many changes coming to CIRQO in the first 12 months. We are a platform, we are a website to start with, but we will be the big picture is we will be turning into an app to make that a lot more accessible. The other part is with CIRQO is there will be coming in the very early months is have a private with your trainer. There'll be a tab there that you can just click on and request a private online with your trainer. So not only can you be on the tutorials, you can book a private, just like it is in a circus school. So basically, CIRQO is a circus school in your pocket and access all areas, basically.
Yes. That's so wonderful. It literally is just like in your pocket, and being able to access that now on privates. I'm looking forward to seeing all the other facets that CIRQO expands into. And of course, I know maybe we want to have some surprises for everyone. So I won't ask you to go into all of them, because I know there will be some really great reveals that will be coming into the future. And yes, so that'll be awesome to see how those continue to sort themselves out and evolve. With also too, what you feel, has there been any kind of initial feedback, Sue? Have you done any kind of litmus test in and around those that would be interested in seeking CIRQO, that have asked for certain things? Did you also do that in terms of what you felt those interested in a platform like CIRQO would want, or what they feel like was missing in terms of a training platform? Did you do kind of like studies like that?
Yeah, we did a lot of research actually before we were building just all those areas, like I said, with just for that area, that aerialist, that acrobat, what they needed, what that yeah, I mean, like yourself, you mentioned earlier there, Shenea, how you to have access to a Cirque du Soleil performer was mind blowing. I completely and utterly understand that feeling, because I was a young circus girl too. And being able to have access to a Cirque du Soleil performer was, my gosh, just it's like another planet. So to make all of this happen, we had to talk to a lot of people, a lot of budding circus performers, a lot of high-end circus performers, just your general performer that goes and has an adult aerial class on what they would like. So we did a lot of research with a lot of different demographics, and to really have the foundation right for CIRQO. And what we're starting out with is going to be pretty big, but there are still lots of wonderful things to come as well. There'll be CIRQO shop. There'll be CIRQO e-books and menus and food, all sorts of wonderful things. So this is only the beginning.
That's fantastic. Sue, what inspires you right now? I know that it's CIRQO, but what else inspires you right now? And what else is the driving force behind your inspiration for CIRQO? And what advice do you have for other circuspreneurs who want to move the circus arts world forward?
Right. Now's the time to plant the seeds. It's like we have a clean canvas right now. There's so many wonderful things that we could all be doing. What inspires me is my going back to my childhood time when I was a young girl, and I'm 49 years old now. There were no circus schools back then, back in Australia, that is. So my my local training area was a playground, And that's how I learned before I actually joined the circus at the tender age of 15. My inspiration really comes from those days where I never had anything like this. And if I'd had something like this, I do believe my career would have been, even though my career was amazing, I do believe it would have been a lot different. Those were the times, and they're wonderful times. But I know what I felt back then as a child. I know it very, very clearly, feel it very clearly. So that's where a lot of this comes from. I know what a young up-and-coming performer is thinking, because I was one, and what they need, because I was one. So that is where my inspiration comes from with CIRQO. And, with COVID and a lot of my artist friends around the world do not have a stage or a job, obviously. And they're sad. They're really sad. They're not doing what they love. A lot of these performers, like yourself, Shenea, we don't do it for the money. We do it because we love it. We absolutely live for it. And to take that away from them is harsh. It's really harsh. So CIRQO will be an outlet for them to, platform their skills, help others. And I think, with what I have received back from our trainers so far, as I said earlier, with how happy they are to be involved, really solidifies the feeling out there of this is something special. And we all need to be inspired to do new things at the moment.
Yes, we do. Thank you, Sue, for this brilliant dialogue and for creating CIRQO. You are truly pushing us into new creative territory in terms of circus training and redefining circus school methods and how we communicate circus knowledge and circus curriculum. I know I've launched into a lot of new handstand coaching and training perspectives and ideas from coming on board, and I'm always grateful for an experience that pushes me to do better, be better, and breathes new originality into my handstand coaching and personal training of my own handstand skills as well. And I'm very, very, very grateful that you are providing a light and a way forward during this time. As you said, it has been so difficult for all of us as a circus community, and we do have a long way to go. And I think that we can all do with as much support as possible. And so I know we're grateful. And I too look back on other performers and look at my own history. And I want more for performers that are up and coming and athletes that seek to transition. I want them to have all accesses to things that I would have loved to have had. And I feel like this is what is being created during these moments. So, and who knows, you might just find me juggling like a pro within the next year.
Love it.
I might, who knows? And so congratulations on the launch of CIRQO, Sue. And I'm sending a wave of support as we navigate this new paradigm together as a circus community. So thank you so much, Sue.
Thank you, Shenea, and thank you so much for being on board. And once again, I'll just say that fabulous Helen Keller quote, which is the foundation of CIRQO: alone we can do so little, but together we can do so much. Stay safe.
Beautiful. Thank you. You as well, Sue. Thank you for joining me on this episode of the Live Like an Acrobat podcast, where I interviewed founder of CIRQO, Sue Porrett. The Live Like an Acrobat podcast is also available on Circus Talk, the inclusive, independent, and international online network for the circus industry. Circus Talk's mission is to create a level playing field for this industry and democratize access to information. Please consider subscribing to the Live Like an Acrobat podcast and to the CircuspreneurBlog.com, where you will find extended conversations and interactive content of each episode of the Live Like an Acrobat podcast. I'm your host, Shenea Stiletto, and until next time, please stay safe and stay healthy.